It had been a day of putting away. Katie found out that even though she loved her orange polka-dotted T-shirt, more tummy than T-shirt showed. Orbie learned that even though he loved his blue racing car, the wheels didn't turn anymore. And they both discovered that some of their storybooks were too young for them. It was a fine spring morning, and Mom decided that the whole family should put all the things that they no longer needed away. Katie and Orbie were having trouble, as they always did when it was time to put something away. But then Dad had an excellent idea. He bounced down to the basement and came back up to their room with 2 boxes. Katie thought maybe she was supposed to put clothes that don't fit anymore in her box, but Dad told her it was for something a little more adventurous than that. Dad sat on the bed and told them about time capsules. Now, Orbie wasn't at all sure what a time capsule was, but already he liked the idea of it. Dad told them that he would put a note in each box saying that this box was made up when they were 5. In their box, they would place all the things that they were finished with, but that had been very special to them. That way, when they grew up and became adults, they could open the box and find the treasures that went with this age. Katie asked Dad, "Does that mean when I grow up, I can look in the box and remember what I liked when I was 5? Dad nodded his head. He added that they might have trouble remembering once they were his age. He certainly didn't remember his favorite toys from when he was 5. Katie and Orbie looked at each other. Suddenly, putting things away had a whole new meaning. Dad thought maybe a list would help. So he took out a crayon and a piece of paper, and he wrote down favorite clothes, favorite shoes, favorite toy, favorite book, favorite music tape, favorite game, the best drawing I could do at 5, and my best friend. Well, when the list was finished, the 2 friends sat for a minute. Some of the things Dad had listed were easy, like favorite clothes. Well, Katie's polka-dotted T-shirt won hands down. Orbie put in his winter hat that was now too small. For shoes, Katie raced down to the hall closet. Orbie followed in a pink flash with Dad on his tail. Katie knew which shoes for sure. They had been pinching her toes, and 2 weeks ago, Mom had said she couldn't wear them anymore. They had dinosaurs on them. They were her all-time favorites. Orbie reached past Katie and pulled out his old skates. He didn't wear shoes too often, but he loved his skates. And Dad said skates were fine. The toys had them both thinking. They raced back upstairs for that one. Katie loved her music box, but she wasn't ready to put it away. Dad asked her to think of what toy she loved before she got the music box. Katie realized that it wasn't exactly a toy, it was a costume. She loved her wild wizard costume, but now it was just too small. Dad said that a wild wizard costume was perfect because it would remind Katie that she loved to do plays and use her imagination. Dad put it in the box. Orbie looked at his blue racing car. It was the fastest one in the neighborhood until he played in the sandbox with it. That would be his toy. Dad placed it in his box. Katie looked through her bookshelf. She had always loved her lazy brown bunny book, but now she was tired of it. Dad took it off the shelf and told her it was perfect. Katie giggled. Orbie looked through his books and then remembered that he had one tucked up in the top of the closet. It was all about space and how people got there. He jumped up and got it and gave it to Dad. This had been his favorite and belonged in the box. Both boxes were filling up. Next came music. Katie and Orbie raced down to the living room. Katie knew the perfect tape. It was full of nursery rhymes and children's music. But now she was a bit too old for it. Dad took it for the box. Orbie loved all his music. It took him a minute to decide which one he was finished with. Then he realized that he had 2 that were similar. He loved the music of big brass bands, and he put one band tape in Dad's hand. Dad told them they now needed a game. Friends ran up the stairs again, and Dad puffed along behind them. Memory boxes were tiring. The game Katie had loved and was now too good at to have any fun with was a leapfrog game. Dad put it in her memory box. Orbie's favorite game was spaceship, snakes, and ladders. Dad put it in Orbie's. Dad told them they both had to do the best drawing they could at 5. The two friends set to work, and soon there was a wonderful drawing of Chance and another of the moon and all of its craters. Dad placed them in the box after he and Mom admired them. The last thing was their best friend at 5 years old. Both friends looked at Dad. How were they ever going to put their best friend in the box? Dad giggled. He had an idea. In his room, Dad came up with a small camera. He told Katie and Orbie to point the cameras at their best friend and push the red button. The two friends set out to find their best friends. Katie and Orbie saw Yi-Ping and Megan and Kira. They saw Andy and Arthur and Dakota. They both waved at Charisse and Bryn and Phoebe. Whose picture would they take? Well, when they both thought about it, they just knew their very best friend was right beside them. Katie and Orbie just laughed. Katie did a nice pose for Orbie, and then Orbie did a nice pose for her. Then, just to remember how silly they were at 5, they both did a silly pose. They hurried back to Dad with the picture in their hands. Dad put the pictures in the box so they could remember what they looked like. Mom tied both boxes up with bright red ribbons, and each friend put their name on the box. Mom said that they would put them in the basement on a shelf for safekeeping. The friends had had so much fun that they decided they would do it again in 3 years. And they did. And do you know that you could make a memory box too? You could put the things that were special to you this year in a box, and one day when you're a grown-up, you could open it and remember. Because I know for sure that there are lots of special things to remember about you.
Did you know? No. Did you know? Did you know? Did you know? It's really easy to make a glass of lemonade. Take a lemon and squeeze the juice into a glass. Add a pinch of sugar and fill the glass with water. Well, maybe a little more sugar.